Hello and welcome to another Main Street Indie Dev stream. Today I will be working on Main Street, and I'm going to show you what I did earlier today. Main Street is a free-to-play online multiplayer tycoon game where you can play with or against your friends and other people online to run competitive businesses on Main Street, as well as do like gathering, fishing, crafting, and all sorts of other things. And today I just added in these fish for the first time. So fish are a new thing in the game. They're not going to look like this though. This is what they're going to look like in the inventory, and we're only going to catch glimpses of them like this. So I added in the spawning behavior, so how they come out, and then I also added in a movement behavior to determine how they can move and why they're allowed to move. So next I want to change how they look to the player, and then we're going to work on some inventory stuff because right now there is no inventory system. At least not one that works in the game yet, although there is some work in the back end. So let's get right to it. Close out of this and see what we got going on. So right now it just shows an icon for the fish that's defined by the atlas name and the icon name. And those fish exist. Let's see, where are they? Fish, 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 fish. I swear they're in here. Atlas name fish. Help me out. Where are... Oh, they're out here. Okay, let me move those in. Can I move those? That's weird, it's not letting me. Hey, thanks for the follow, the imps. Okay, so here are the fish that we have right now that can appear. This is what they look like. It's what they look like super blown up. But we don't want them to show like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the resources for the Velocity game engine, and I'm going to see what options we have for animation. Actually, you know what? I think I've done this before. I've already done this in another part of the game. When you click on the shop shelves, they shake. So let me look for where I did that. Let's see. So that's going to be maybe in shop. Let's see. So we have a shop region, shop child region. Okay, so it's not going to be that. It might be in diabs. What's going on, the amps? Let's see. So, do I have shop shelves in here? I did not see them. Interesting. So, here we go. Shop shelf. Been a little while since I've been in this part of the code. So, on mouse click, let's see. What do I do? Hide shelf menu. That's fine. On mouse down. Mouse click. I might have put this in a client-only section. Client-only juicy effects. This is it. This is what I'm looking for. So on the client side, it's set to, let's see, do set transition. That's what I want. Okay. So set transition. Let's look at that. The documentation says that it will transition any diab, which is like an object in the game, any diab properties from the current values to new values over time. Okay. And we're going to do this on the client side. So let's see. We're going to go into fish. Fishing. And we're going to put this... Actually, we're going to put it in here. So diab fish. And we're going to do a ticker on the client. Let's see. We're going to make a function and a variable. So let's say variable effect change interval. Let's say every 50 ticks. So then here we're going to check if the tick number modulus this effect change interval is equal to 0, then we want to call another function. And we'll call this do effects or do effects. So then this will call this dot do effects. And let's see. What we're going to want to do is we're going to transition some value for the fish from somewhere here, from some first value to a second value over this interval here. And I think what we want to do is we want to start with the fish being totally invisible. And so we're going to use, let me see what we have from the resources. We should be able to change, this is everything that we're allowed to change. No, these are the ease functions. Let's see, steps, it's a third. Let's see, number of milliseconds, okay, transition to queue. P0. So object containing properties for the transition. So alpha is the main one that I'm concerned with right now. And what we're going to do is at the very beginning, we're going to set its alpha to 0. So on new, I'm going to go this alpha equals 0. And let me make sure that that's something that I can do really quick. So let's just look in and see alpha. So diab alpha is a thing. So whenever the fish is created, its alpha value is going to get set to 0. And then we're going to call this do effects on an interval, and we're going to change the alpha value sometimes to a random value. So let's say there's a, let's see, what chance do we want? Our reveal fish chance. Let's say it's 0.1 for 10% chance. So what we'll do here is we'll do if math.rand, which is going to give us one random number between 0 and 1. It's going to be a floating point decimal. So if math.rand is greater than or equal to this reveal fish chance, then we're going to tween that value or transition that value over time to some amount. So then we're also going to do a min reveal alpha. We're going to set that to 10% and then a max reveal alpha. So we're going to set the alpha to some variable amount over half a second or 50 ticks. And let's call that 30%. So it's going to fluctuate between 0, 0.1, and 0.3, or 0%, 10%, and 30%. So we'll do reveal alpha equals math.random, and we're going to make it random is going to pick a random value between 2 points, and those 2 points are going to be this min reveal alpha and this max reveal alpha. Thanks for the retweet, Torto. Man, Torto retweets every single stream that I do. It's really awesome. Let's see. So reveal alpha, and then what we're going to do is we're going to call this set transition, and we're just going to create an object where we specify what we want to change, and it's going to change the, let me go back to the documentation for that. We're going to change the alpha to reveal alpha, whatever that value is. And then our second argument is supposed to be the number of steps to take to transition the properties. And we're going to do -1, which is going to say it should do a step every frame. And then let's see, the next thing is PT over here, number of milliseconds between each step. And I don't know, let's say 10, and let's just see how it goes. That seems pretty often, but but we'll see. And let's see, what else do we have? The number of milliseconds between each step, number of steps to transition the properties. Actually, because I want this to match up. Well, we'll just see what happens. And then we can tweak it as we need to. So PQ transition will be added to the queue if something else is happening. We're gonna say true for that. So if it's already transitioning something else, this will just queue that transition up. Merge with the last thing in the queue. That's interesting. Loop is going to be no. Okay, let's give that a go. Then what we want to do is, if we're not revealing the fish, we want to see if the fish is currently revealed, and if it is, we're going to set it back to 0. So if this alpha is not equal to 0, then we're going to, I could transition it back to 0, or I could just set it back to 0, but I'm going to transition it back to 0. So we're going to call another transition, but this time alpha is going to be 0. Let's see what we get there. It might not work, might work. We'll see. Hey! All right. So this is essentially doing what we want. It's just doing it way more often than we really want because we can see them too much. So what I'm going to do is, first off, some of these are way more visible than I intend. And second, I could just see them way more often than I want to. So we're going to reduce that chance, reveal fish chance, to 1%. And we're going to change the min alpha to 0.02 or 2%, and the max to 10% or 0.1. Let's see what we get from that. Okay. I'm still seeing them more often than I want. Like, particularly this yellow one is almost visible all the time, it seems like. I'm going to change something here really quick. Let's see. When it calls do effects and it says else, I'm not going to transition it. I'm just going to hide it right away. So we're going to set this alpha equals 0. I'm not totally loving how that looks because sometimes it looks like they just flat out disappear. Now what I'm seeing is it looks like they're making a single step each time. It's supposed to smooth transition from one thing to another, but it looks like it's only making one step. So let's see. Let's change this from 10 milliseconds to 50 milliseconds like the other one. And let's see what that does. And then we're also going to queue another transition. So after we reveal it, we're going to immediately queue it to go back away. And that's going to get queued on. So it's going to come in and then it's going to go back out. Oh, also, I did this condition wrong. So fish reveal chance, this is actually fish high chance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 minus fish reveal chance because everything's coming up way more often than it's supposed to. So when I said 10%, it was actually like 90%. And now 1% is 99%. So now we should rarely see them. So there should be 12 fish in here. I want to see... Okay, so they're literally blinking in and out. very occasionally, and way faster than I really want. Way faster than I really want. So let's take a look. I'm going to say, let's see. Wish I could just say how long I want it to take. Here's what I'm going to do. Let's see. So number of steps. I'm just going to tell it the number of steps to take. So we're going to say take 20 steps for each. And do 50 milliseconds for each step, which should equate to each step taking a second. So it's going to fade in for a second and then fade out for a second. And we're going to make it more common. If we might make it this uncommon again, but we want to make it more common just so that we can observe it better while we're testing. Still blinking in and out. They are blinking in and out more quickly now. I'm going to take this out because I think what's happening is that's getting called too fast. So now let's see what we get. Still blinking. Interesting. Okay, but we're kind of getting there. So, object containing properties to transition. Number of steps to take to transition the properties. Number of milliseconds between each step. Let's see, loop. Transition will be added to the current loop and repeat until told to stop. Well, you know what? I changed these instead of has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. I changed the wrong one. So we're going to change this over here to do that 20-step transition. Let's see what that does. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Way more often than we will want in the game, but they just peek in and out. I like that. And this will just be one of the effects that we get from them. Some of the other effects that I want is to like reveal some animated ripple effects and things like that. So we may give them overlays when they're available, and then we'll tween in the overlays instead of them. And those overlays could be like the ripple effects, and sometimes we might even do multiple effects at the same time. All right. So at this point, I'm pretty happy with this first start. I am going to tweak it and see if I can get it more to like what I expect. So let's set that reveal fish chance back to 1%. And let's see what we get from that. So we have 12 fish in there, but we don't want to just be able to see them all the time. So as a fisher, I would expect that I should see something actionable within 15 to 20 seconds. And I did there, but let's observe it a little longer. And then what I would do is I would run over there and, try to interact with it, understanding that it probably didn't move too far. I'm not counting, but let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is too long. So this is not often enough. There's 12 fish in there. I should see a sign of one of them. There. So there's a sign. So it is working. It's just not often enough. Let's change that to 3%. Let's see what we get from 3%, because we know 10% is too much. right, so 1, 2. There was one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Come on, 14. There we go. 15. Yeah, sweet. Okay. Very cool. Okay, so it's definitely random. Like sometimes they're showing up at the same time. Okay, so the other thing I want to do is sometimes they will literally show up at exactly the same time. And the reason for that is they're all on like the same spawn interval. So what I want to do is I want to make this delay random. So they're each going to get a random delay between 10 and 100 ticks. Math.random. And so what that's going to do is, let me make sure that's correct. No, I want rand. Oh, is that why some of them are getting way too clear as well? Okay. So I did that wrong. This min reveal alpha, max reveal alpha was not resolving correctly. It was picking a random number between 0 and 1. So what we want to do for that is we're going to set this reveal chance up, and we're going to see how visible they get with the values that I've set now, because now I want to tweak those. Where are they? Okay, so right now it looks like they're coming all the way in, but it's only that one. Why is only that one coming in? Okay, they're coming all the way in. Random calls a random number between 0 and 1, and rand takes the two numbers. So this is going to do a delay between 10 and 100. Back change interval every 50 ticks. Reveal chance is supposed to be 50%. I think that this is too small. I think this is just way too small. So let's try setting this from 0.1 to 0.5. I think if it's too small, we're just not seeing it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now 0.5. 0.5 is too much. Let's just make it go between 0.1 and 0.2. It still looks like they're coming in too much sometimes, but I can play with that later. I'm going to set this back to 3%. The fish reveal chance. And let's work on inventory. Let's see. So I don't remember exactly where I left off with inventory, but the first thing I know I need to do is there's just a little graphical issue with it. So I have this interface inventory file here, and I just messed up these pieces right here. So we're gonna delete those pieces, or that piece, and this piece. And then we're gonna put in new ones. So I want a northwest right there. And then I want just a north right here. And I just need to send them to the back. How do I send them to the back? Let's see. Thought I could right click on them and just like do send it back, but that's not an option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these inventory slots, inventory slot, and inventory slot 1. And then I'll just recreate them on top. So let's delete that. And then I'm also going to need to remove the solos. Okay, so then we're going to want to put new ones in. We're going to go solo and solo. And that should, that's way more than I wanted. Okay, so this should be solo and solo 1. Perfect. And then I just need the inventory slots. And they should be inventory slot and inventory slot 1. Perfect. Okay, so that should fix the visual issue that I was having with the inventory. Yep, that looks better. So now I want to populate the inventory just automatically with some items so that I can test some functions with them. So what we're gonna do is, let's see, we're just gonna set, I can't remember, I think it just needs the inventory ID. Let's see what it's expecting. So it's expecting an item to have an item and a count. So we're just gonna fake the inventory to start with some stuff and then see if it can render it correctly. And all that the inventory and data is going to have is just an ID and a count. So let's try to put a blue flower in the inventory. And let's see what we get from that. There's a blue flower. All right, and I can click and drag it, but I can't move it. So I got to get the drag and drop functionality in there. Now, at one point I had this, and unfortunately it stopped working because I accidentally overwrote it. So I'm going to be redoing some of that work. So let's throw in a couple items with different counts so that we have some items to play with. So we'll throw in 2 purple flowers and let's say 5 avocados. So they're there, that's good, but I can't click and drag to swap or anything like that. So that's what we're gonna write now. So I have a swap inventory slots method, and it is getting called, and there's some logging in here. So let's see what I can do. I'm gonna run it and look at the logging and see what I get. Okay, I want to get rid of that on cross logging because that's absolutely screwing everything up. So let's just comment this out. Okay, swapping inventory, and it says swapping inventory, nothing and nothing. Let's look for where that is. It said swapping with a capital S. So I think that's going to be here. So the slot name 1. So let's see, P data. So there should be a slot name 1 because otherwise it would have returned. Let's look at that again. Oh, you know what? Let's see. I think there was a problem in this function that I wrote earlier that I had fixed. But I want to look at that logging one more time. Okay, so it does see it's inventory slot 1 and inventory slot 2. But then when it tries to figure out what the numbers are from those words, it doesn't get it. So it is reading them incorrectly. It is reading them correctly, I mean, but it's not getting them out. So let's see what we do. We have a variable s that's set to nothing. And if the, let's see, we're going backwards through the character array. We're logging it correctly. Let's see. Okay, I think this is the problem. Now that looks fine. S plus equals p string I, okay. S2 equals an empty string. Then, let's see, we go, well, that all looks fine. Let's see, oh, right here. Wait, no, that's not the problem either. We'll just add more logging in here and see what comes up. Okay, so this is bad. I think I remember this. It's treating all the letters as if they are definitely numbers, when they are definitely not. So util to number, it's not going to work. I can't remember. Did I write a utility to just check and see if it's a number? Let me look in here. No. I don't remember exactly what I did, and I might never, but I know what I need to do, which is just not use this to check if it's a number or not. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to make a list of valid numbers. Which is totally rocket science here. And I'm going to check if that includes the string I, or if it doesn't include it. So if it doesn't include it, it's not a valid number. And if it does, it is a valid number. Let's see where that gets us. That fixed it. Boom. So now I can swap inventory slots, but if I try to go into an empty slot, it starts breaking things down. And it's giving me problems here, so let's look at those. Who am I kidding? That was a bad idea. Okay, so it's saying there's a problem in inventory around line 24. Let's see. Saying that there's no ID. So I have a problem displaying something without an ID. Let's see. So let's look at what it does. Let's look at what this does. Oh, this is what I was just working on. Okay. That should be fine. So I think it just doesn't like displaying them. Let's see. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm looping through the inventory items.length, but that's not really what I want. I want to loop through the inventory slots and update each inventory slot, because I could have an item and then 2 empty slots and then another item. That's how I want it to work. So have I defined how many slots there are anywhere? I have on the player. Okay. And then in here, this is an inventory client functions. I'm just going to hard code it because we know it's always going to be 16. So what we're going to do is, instead of looping through the inventory slot elements, oh no, but we do want that. No, that's good. This is bad. Let me see. What do we do with our inventory item collection when we reorder? Let's see. Okay, so no, I still think that's fine. Okay, yeah, we just need to make sure that we handle the no ones. So we're gonna loop through the inventory slot items.length, and let's see. If client mob inventory items. Now we'll do var item exists equals false. Then we'll do if if client mob inventory items I exists and it has an ID, then we'll do this. I don't need this. If it does this, we will return. No, we'll continue. This is supposed to be in a for loop, isn't it? Yeah, this is... No, not that if. Okay, this is in a for loop. Okay. So it's going to continue the for loop if it updates, and then if it didn't, it's going to clear out whatever was there. So we're going to set these all to null. And set this to an empty string. Yeah. Oh no. Not set properly. Okay, so it didn't like it when I threw it all the way to the end. I can throw it. Oh, interesting. How far can I take it? Weird. There are some spots I can't take it to. Let's see. Cannot set property text of undefined. Inventory line 32. Icon state. Okay. Oh, well, this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be down here. That's weird. But also, there should be a -1. I think that's going to get it. Oh no. Nope, that was wrong. I was wrong. Because this is less than, not less than or equal. Weird. Really weird. So it hits both of these and it doesn't like either of these. How is this populated? It's populated by this. And then we're looping through inventory items. Is it not getting all of them? We're going to log how many it gets. So there's just get inventory slot elements. We're going to do world.log count of inventory slot elements. And this is going to be plus this inventory slot elements. Length. It's going to plus dot length, which just gave me a bunch of objects. $16. That's what I'm expecting. So if there's 16, I should not be going greater than 16. So we're going to log this. Updating inventory display for inventory item. Let's see where that gets us. $51. It thinks we're going for number 51. 49, 48, 47, 45, 41. Wow. Okay. So why on earth does it think that? Let's see what we're doing with inventory items when we swap something. Is it getting the slot index wrong? It must be getting the slot index wrong when I swap. Let's run that again. Let's scroll up to the top. Ooh. Okay. So Swapping inventory from 2 to 51. It's backwards. That's supposed to be slot 15. Okay. So this function needs to then reverse S2. Which I can actually do by going from 0 to s.length. I is less than s.length. That should reverse the order and get me 15 instead of 51. Did I screw that up? I think I did somehow. Swapping inventory slot 15 and 2, and then it goes to 51 and 2. Did I build it? I did. I need to do I++. Increase the index. Here goes again. No, still doesn't like it. Still going for 51. Let's see, so how would this work? If it's 15 and I'm reading it backwards, S is going to be 51. So it seems like the way it was before, it should have been correct. It seems like. So why wasn't it? Okay, let's get our logging here. That's interesting. So I just put in this new log, and I don't think I saw it. F return. It should be coming somewhere after this. But it didn't. Got 5-1 underscore, not a valid number. And then that's all I got. Let's see if that makes sense. Oh. It's returning S as soon as it hits a number that's not valid, and it's skipping the rest. We don't actually ever want to return S. We always want to return S2. So that function was just full of problems. Boom, 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 boom. This is what I want. So now I need splitting. I want to be able to right click and split it in half. So let's see what we have here. On the client, we have on mouse up, and we should be able to get a parameter to see what button is pressed. we're going to go pdiom, px, py, p button, and p button is what we want. 1 is the left button, 2 is the middle button, 3 is the right button. So we're going to check. Let's see. First off, if it's the middle button, we're going to get out and ignore it. So then, let's see. Swap inventory slots. We're going to create a new function here to split inventory slots. We're going to handle this in swap inventory slots. We're going to pass the button to swap inventory slots. So let's see. We're going to pass P button. And the reason I want to do that is because I want the server to be able to look and see if they right click and they drag over between two items where there is stuff there. I want it to treat it as a regular drag drop instead of a split. So then we'll just handle that on the server. Let's see. So here I want to check. So at this point I have my two slots, TMP slot 1 and TMP slot 2. And I'm going to swap them. If the button press was 3, which is the right mouse button, and let's see, TMP slot 2 is either nothing or it doesn't have an ID. We're going to split it instead. If there's also more than one unit to split. So, and TMP slot 1, let's see, if we want to do and TMP slot 1 and TMP slot 1 ID, just to prove that it exists, and TMP slot 1 count is greater than 1. So we know there's at least one to split. If this is the case, then we want to do a split. Otherwise, we want to just swap. Okay. So here, let's see, we're going to go. We need to determine what count we're going to split. So we're going to take, let's see, var count to split. Now let's see. We're going to get the remainder. So we're going to split off an even value and we're going to keep the remainder in slot 1. So first we're going to get the remainder. So remainder equals TMP slot 1 count mod 2. That'll give us the whole number remainder between that we can then subtract. So then we're gonna see what count we want to put in slot 1 and what count we're gonna do in slot 2. So slot 1 count is going to be TMP slot 1 dot count divided by 2, and we're going to do math.ceiling. Actually, let's do the 2 first. So math.ceiling, no, math.floor. Actually, we don't even need the remainder. Slot 2 count is going to be math.floor TMP slot 1 count divided by 2. And then slot 1 count is going to be TMP slot 1 count minus slot 2 count. Let's see. So then we're going to do client mob inventory items slot index 1 equals count equals slot 1 count, because we know there's something in there, but the other one doesn't even have anything in it yet, and we actually need to create a new inventory record for it. We're going to do client mob inventory items slot index 2 equals, and let's see, ID is going to be TMP slot 1. Actually, we don't need to do it that way. This can be TMP slot 1. And nah, we will do it this way just to be sure. That's going to be TMP slot 1 dot ID, and then the count is going to be slot 2 count. So that should allow us to split the items into multiple stacks. It's just moving it instead of splitting it. When we look at the logging, it says it's swapping 2 and 3. It doesn't say anything about splitting. Here's why. I'm checking P button, but that's coming through P data, so I need to check P data P button. That's at least part of it. All right, there's something else going on too. It's still just swapping, so let's see what's going on. So when I'm calling that, I'm definitely passing it P button. When I'm calling this, I'm also passing it P button. So let's go in here and let's just log what the button is. It says it's button 3. Okay, so that piece is working now, which means that the other part of this is failing. So that's going to be this part. So TMP slot 2, if not TMP slot 2, or let's see, what order am I passing these in? The slots. I'm wondering if they're just getting backwards. Let's just go pressed and then hovered instead. Just swap the order and see if that fixes it. Hey, there we go. We now have splitting. Now I want merging. So if I drag it, two items of the same type onto each other, I want to merge them onto each other. So let's see what I can do about that. I'm going to need a beverage soon. Let's see. And I'm going to do that in the swapping function as well. And we might update what that's called later since it's doing a bunch of stuff. But let's see. So in here, we're going to check if TMP slot, we're going to add another else. So it's going to go else if TMP slot 1 and TMP slot 1 ID and TMP slot 2 and TMP slot 2 ID. So making sure that we have valid items in both slots and that those items are the same. So if we are dragging between the same items, then we're going to want to check the stack size and see how we can stack them. So let's see. So the total, we want to get the total count that we're dealing with, which is going to be just the two counts added together. And do we already check through the item data? I don't think we do. So we need to check item data on the server. So in here, when we check item data, let's see, what did we do? We did this. Where are we? We're here. Let's see. So we're going to check the ID of TMP slot 1 ID. And if we get item data, if we don't get item data, we'll stop trying to merge. But if we do get item data, then we want to check the max count. So we're going to make TMP slot 1 count equal total count. And TMP, let's see, no, let's do temporary variable. So slot 1 count equals tote count, and slot 2 count equals 0. Now let's think this through. If tote count, or if slot 1 count is greater than item data, let's see what that's called, stack size. If it's greater than the max stack size, set slot 1 count equal to item data stack size. And then we're going to update slot 2 count equal to the total count minus the stack size. So it's going to get the remainder. So now what we want to do is if we want to just update the slot 1 count. So p client mob inventory items slot index 1 count equals slot 1 count. And then if slot 2 count is less than or equal to 0, we want to null it out. So we're going to go p client mob inventory items slot index 2 equals null. If the count, let's fix that typo. If the count is greater than 0, we'll update that count as well. And that should get us a merge. So here we're going to go merging instead of swapping. Invalid else statement. Yes, it is because of that. Let's fix that. All right. That should get us where we're going. So let's split it and then merge it. Okay. That works, but it's merging in the opposite direction I'm expecting. So what do I want to do for that? Let me see how I screwed that up. Okay. Yeah, no, this is fine. I just want to change. I want to invert every reference to slot 1 count and slot 2 count. Let's see if I can keep my head straight for this. All right, let's see if I screwed that up. All I was doing was swapping 1s and 2s. Shouldn't be that hard. Yeah, whoa. Oh no. If you drop an item onto itself, it disappears. Swapping inventory 0, 0, and then it's just gone. Okay, that's interesting. So let's do this. If slot index 1 equals slot index 2, return. We found a bug. Try that again. That fixed that. Awesome. So we got swapping, splitting, merging. That's glorious. Now we want to make sure we can get adding. So right now, like say I pick a flower. I don't know if those are set up as items yet. But let's say the fruit I definitely want to set up, or I have set up. So if I were to pick a fruit, I want it to add to inventory instead of selling for instant value. So let's go into our gatherables and see what we can do for that. So right now we have this instant reward money. And it's set for pretty much everything. And then we also have an inventory ID reward. But the inventory ID isn't set for anything. So I'm going to set it for these purple and blue flowers. And I'm going to remove the instant reward money. And I'm going to see if we can get some purple and blue flowers to add to inventory. So I'm picking them. They're disappearing, but they're not adding the inventory, and I'm not getting money for them. So let's watch what happens. Where did that go? Let's watch what happens in here when I pick a flower. Quite a bit. But it doesn't really tell me if it tried to add it or not. So let me make sure there's logging for that. So let's see. The client mob add inventory items, this inventory ID reward count 1. So let's go to the definition of this function. It should log if it can't find it, but it's not logging otherwise. Let's see. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna add some general tracing. So I'm gonna do inventory at inventory item 1. That's gonna be 2. This is gonna be 1, and then we're just gonna put it all over the place. We're gonna see how many iterations of the loop we get. We're gonna see how often we get in here. How often we get in here. We're gonna see when we get out. If we get in. If we get in again. How often we get here. When we get out. And if we get here. That's a lot of logging. And we will add more if we need to. Let's read those logs. So what did I get? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 6, 10, 11. I'm gonna screenshot that. See if we can make sense of it. So that's 1. It's gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then back to 3. Then to 6, which would mean that there's none left to add. Then we got to 10 because there was nothing left to add, so it was trying to merge it into the existing inventory. Then we got to 11. So it's trying to just add it. This doesn't make sense. So when we call it, we just pass what we're adding and the count. Then we go for each item in inventory items. So right here is the problem. This is supposed to be just item. I think that's it. We're not merging them correctly. That was that. Okay. Now I want to see if I add one, is it going to add here or is it going to add here? Interesting. So in that case, there was a problem. And I can't see what it was. So I need to disable the debug. Let's move that over here and pick another one. And check what we get in here. Not read ID of undefined. So I know it's in the mouse click for the blue flowers. Cannot read ID of undefined. I want to say that's going to be in the piece that we didn't get to yet, which was this piece. So let's look for ID in here. So we have P item ID. That should work. Oh, you know what? It's because there was a blank slot in inventory items. So I need to check or not item or not item ID. Because this is just where I'm trying to merge. Then after I'm trying to merge, then I'm going to look for empty slots. No, but I don't always want to push at the end. I don't always want to push at the end. This empty slot count thing, this needs to be redone. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to loop through each item again. Actually, I want to loop through each slot. So this is going to be for var I equals 0, I is less than 16, I plus plus. And here we're gonna check and see if it's valid. We're gonna go if I plus 1 is greater than. Thanks for the like, Bullcut Studios. All right, let's see. If I plus 1 is greater than this inventory items length, then we'll push the item to add. We can do something like that. Then let's see. So that'll work if we get to the end of the list. Actually, this part we can do no matter what. So this part we'll do no matter what, because this will be universal. Let's see. So then we'll do else if. Else if this inventory items I is nothing, or this inventory items ID is nothing. So that'll mean this is an empty slot. It exists, but it's empty. In that case, we will set it. We won't add it, but we'll set it. I can even pull this out. So here we'll go. Let's see. What we'll do is this inventory items I equals item to add. And we're going to get rid of all of this. Okay, and then if left to add is less than or equal to 0, we'll break out of the for loop. I also want to make this return some. No, that's fine. We'll take it from there. So what's going to happen is if your inventory is full and you pick a flower, it's going to go away and you won't get it. Which we'll work on that another time. Now I should be able to move this over here. Okay, and it went right there. It's not really what I wanted. I wanted it to find this over here. So let's see why that might not be happening. Okay, it's breaking out instead of continuing, so we'll continue there. Actually, no, break is good. We'll do a separate check to continue. If there's no item, continue. That should fix that. So now it should, yeah, perfect. Just start counting that one up right away. And the purple flowers should also work. Let's just split this out and split that out. And see what happens if we get a purple flower. Perfect. Yeah. The other thing we would want to check is max stack size, but I think that's probably working fine. So now we've got some basic inventory functions. What we want to do is we want to start setting up all the gatherables to actually work that way. Which means we need to set their IDs. And I think the IDs are going to be... Well, let's just look. I have purple flower, blue flower. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to have to go through them. So let's see. I don't think I have the hedge flowers yet, but I do have the fruit trees. So let's go ahead and start doing these. So that's going to be the inventory ID reward. So we're going to remove the instant reward money from all the fruit trees, and we're going to start setting the inventory IDs. And they should be very simple, like apricot and avocado. Okay, this says avocado, but I think it might have said avocado in the other one. So let's see. It does. Is it avocado or avocado? Avocado. Okay. So we're not going to change the other one because that might break something, but we're going to make sure that we set the inventory ID correctly. Banana. And let's see, I wanted to remove the instant reward monies. Cherry. Coconut. Dragon fruit. Fig, and remove that. Let's see, golden. Apple. Let me make sure that one's correct. Golden apple. Wait. Yeah, ID, golden apple. Okay, cool. All right. Grapefruit. Green apple. Guava. Lemon. Lime. Mango. Orange. We're getting to the end. PR. Bloom. Pomegranate. Red apple. And star fruit. Freaking awesome. All right. Let's see what we get from this. So the idea is I should start being able to pick fruit. Yeah. Get my figs. Haha, yeah. Oh, this is awesome. I've been working on this for a long time, so it's just nice to see this working. Okay, and we're already filling up our stack sizes here. This is great. And most of the fruit just stacks up to 5. So some of the flowers are still giving me instant reward money, which I expect because those aren't done yet. Get those golden apples. Yeah. Coconuts. I do want to make sure these stop eventually. Yeah, okay, so that stopped at 10. My inventory is now full, and these are just going into oblivion. Oh man, that's fun. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. So I'm gonna take a break for now, and see where I can take this tomorrow. But thank you guys for watching. It's been fun. I've finished a bunch of stuff for inventory today, a bunch of stuff for fishing, and we're going to be testing it this weekend on Saturday. So let me know. You can reach out to me on Twitter or Discord. I'll throw my socials in the link there right after stream. And let me know if you want to be a part of the testing. It's going to be pretty cool. All right. See you guys.